Welcome to the practice. So today, guys, we're going to break down our poses in a bit more detail and really make sure we get the proper alignment and also learn some of the modifications that we can use to make this practice a bit more accessible. And that's really an important thing. You know, this vinyasa practice was created with the idea to make it accessible and adaptable to each person. So learning these modifications can really help us in this practice. So hope you enjoy it today. Now, pro tip, guys, you've heard me say it before, but think about getting some blocks. Blocks will make these poses more accessible, and so we can really find the right alignment, and they definitely help with modifications. One more pro tip for you, bonus pro tip. You can watch this on 1.2 or 1.5 speed. That'll move things a little faster, maybe even 2x, but still, take your time when you're going through these videos. All right, so let's get into it. First pose we want to talk about is Tadasana. All right, so whether you're standing on a mat or you're just on the ground listening, or in a park, wherever, find yourself standing up, arms alongside the body, and then we'll just take a few moments to check out our alignment. Okay, so we want the toes pointing forward. All right, feet can be hip distance apart or a little closer. Just find a comfortable position and then start to push the feet down. All right, now this is important. This might seem a little boring, but being able to build the engagement in the body is really what we're learning to do here. So pushing the feet down, focus on the big toe mound. All right, you'll hear me use these different cues throughout the practice and in today's lesson. So pushing that big foot, that big toe mound down, pushing the heels down, try to lift the inner arches of the feet. All right, trying to push the edges of the feet down. All right, so there's all sorts of engagement we can try to find in the feet, so we can kind of do it with a little firmness and then back off. All right, then find the balance. All right, then coming up, lifting the kneecaps, making sure the knees are in line with the ankles, and then the knees are in line with the hips. So sometimes, you know, we can be a little forward, we can be a little back. Let's just find this alignment in the body. All right, now use some awareness and adjust. So you can adjust a little bit. Sometimes we get a little bit there. So find that balance. Good. Lift the kneecap. So pushing the feet down, big toe mounds anchored, drawing the heels down, lifting the kneecaps. Good. Kind of spiraling those inner thighs up. All right, so now we're lengthening, we're at our hips, finding a neutral position with the hips. Really lift the tailbone, so tuck the tailbone up and back, right? Then push it forward, find that tilt. Good, now the balance right in the middle. Good, coming to our torso, relax the belly, gently keeping the ribs pulled in, because sometimes in these poses we can kind of come like this. So we want to keep the ribs nice and easy, and this is more of a relaxation thing. Okay, let's roll the shoulders up, back, and down. Now flip the palms forward. So now keeping this alignment from the feet, lifting the kneecaps, spiraling the inner thighs up, neutral position in the hips, shoulders rolled back and down. Good. Take a breath into the belly. Try to expand that breath through the rib cage up to the heart. Open mouth. Exhale. Good. Take 2 more breaths here. Keep the engagement. Good. Now expand into the sides of the body with the breath, 360 degrees. Fully in, exhale, let it go. Good. Now bring your awareness to the chin slightly towards the chest so the neck is long. Good. Now we can really find engagement in this pose. We can really flex, push the feet down, roll the shoulders, kind of find that neutral position with the hips, pushing the pubic bone slightly forward. Good. And then relax, finding the balance. Okay, so good solid position right here. Well done. Let's be at the top of our mat or wherever we're standing, hands to the hips. Let's step this right foot back. We'll come into warrior 2. So we come into this pose quite often in our practice, right? So let's just take a few moments, heel to arch alignment. Okay, that's what we're going for. Front toes point forward, back foot's at about 90 degrees. Now anchor down the pinky side edge of that back foot. Try to lift the inner arch of that back foot, pushing the big toe mound down. Good. Arms come out wide. Now we want this front knee over the ankle. All right, so we can be right here. This is a good place to work. This right rib cage is rotating back. We're opening the hips, pushing the front foot down, focusing on the big toe mound. Looking down, we can see the knee just on the, or the Big toe just on the inside of the knee. Good, then try to lengthen the shoulder blades, lengthen through the collarbones. Good, and as we're doing this, we're not only reaching out, but we're expanding, right? So think of radiating out 360 degrees, not only reaching forward, but really expanding out in these directions, right? With the breath, all four corners. Let's take a few breaths here. So as things loosen up, you may want to get a little longer with the stance. Now, some of you may need a little shorter of a stance because we want to keep this knee over the ankle, right? So we can shorten it up. That's all good. Shorten it up, bend into that front knee. We're still in the pose right here. Good. Now the arms are burning a little bit. When the thigh is burning, we're feeling it, right? Let's take a few more breaths. Good. Let's bring the hands to the hips. We'll go to the other side. Right foot pointing forward, back foot at about 90, warrior two. All right, so now that heel to arch alignment, building these poses from the feet up. Okay, knee over the ankle, arms come out wide, gaze right over the fingertips. Good, now this left rib cage rotates back slightly. But what often happens is that front knee dives in when we do that. All right, so roll it back out, keep that knee in line, seeing that big toe just on the inside part of the knee. And we're working the breath, so we inhale into the belly, lengthen. Exhale, we can bend into this front leg, finding more depth. Good, and this back leg's nice and strong, anchoring down through that pinky side edge, lifting the inner arch of this back foot. Good, breathe here. Now relaxing the tailbone towards the ground. Oftentimes the ribs can kind of flare up, right? We can get this back bend. So rotating everything down, finding this neutral position with the spine, with the belly, with the low back. Good, then gaze is just right over the fingertips. We're always refining in this pose, so each breath is an opportunity to refine. We can find more depth on the exhale, more length on the inhale. So we're making all these little adjustments while just maintaining this smooth breath. Good, let's bring the hands to the hips, point the toes forward, take an inhale breath. Exhale, wide-legged forward fold. Release the hands to the ground. Now in this pose, we got a few options. We can grab the outer edges of the feet, start to pull the crown of the head down slightly. Good, a little bend into the knees still, but we're lengthening the hamstrings, reaching the top of the head down. All right, just a little bonus pose here. Let's go ahead and bring the hands to the hips. Come on up. All right, let's make our way into a high lunge pose. So parallel the feet forward, adjust the feet where you need to. Hands could start at the hips. Good, so finding the right distance. Now some of you may need to or would like to bend this back knee a little bit more. This will take some pressure off the lower back so we can find a more neutral position with the hips, okay? That's a great place to be. We can work it right here. Front knees over the ankle, inhaling. Remember, it's all about the breath. Exhale, finding more depth. The pose is just the tool for us to work the breath. And really, each pose offers a window into our own nature, into what's going on in our life, how we're breathing, how we're approaching this practice in each pose. So really working the breath once you find the pose and the engagement. Good, now maybe we want to start to straighten out this back leg. We can get the feet a little bit longer. Good, hips are squared forward, shoulders square forward, right? Relaxing the low back where we can. Now the inner thighs might be squeezing together. That'll give us some more balance and stability, but we're going to feel it a little bit more. So pushing this front foot down. Another breath or two here. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Lift. Find lightness on the inhale. Breathing into all four directions. Exhale. Bending into the front knee. Finding more depth. Good. Now a common transition is to come into warrior two from here. So let's give it a shot. Hands to the hips. Spin the back foot down. Good. And now see where we're at. Maybe our feet are a little misaligned. We want to get that heel to arch alignment so we can make sure we're refined right there. Good. Arms right up. We're back here. Nice. Hands to the hips. We'll go to that high lunge. Other side. Right toes pointing forward. Everything just switches. High lunge with this right leg forward. Good. So now we're going to take a couple breaths, find the alignment, the engagement from the feet, right? And adjust, right? You can always walk this front foot towards the edge of the mat. You can give yourself some space when you're working this practice a little bit. Knee over the ankle. Good. Now let's inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, bend into the front knee. Now work the breath. Try to lengthen straight up and into the sides. Exhale, finding more depth. Good. Breathe. Pushing this front foot down. Finding the right engagement in this back foot. Good. Now we're going to be drawing the inside seam of this knee forward. I'll keep it lengthening forward so we're reaching the shin forward as well, but still maintaining that alignment. Good. Let's bring the hands to the hips. We'll come into our warrior two. Back foot spins down. Nice. Then adjust the feet. We're looking pretty good. Arms come out wide. Take a breath in warrior two. And it's also about, once we get into the pose, for the second, third time, finding the engagement, finding the pose a bit quicker, so then we're right into it. Good. Hands to the hips, parallel the feet. Take an inhale breath. Exhale, wide-legged forward fold. Release the hands to the ground. Good job. Bring the hands to the hips. Come on up. Good. Point the feet forward. We'll step it up. Standing at the top of the mat. So that's a good breakdown of Warrior 2 and High Lunge to make those transitions as well. Let's talk about our vinyasa. All right. So this is really key in our practice to learn how to move through these vinyasas and chaturangas, up dogs and down dogs. So from downward dog, okay, a good modification in downward dog is with these blocks. Blocks super handy. You can put them underneath. They'll just make poses more accessible. They'll help lengthen the spine, take a little pressure off the wrist. Good. So in our downward dog, we're drawing the heels down, a little bend into the knees. We're lifting the tailbone up. Pushing the palms into the ground, focusing on that index finger knuckle. And then the head rests right in between the biceps. See if you can rotate the biceps forward so the eye of the elbow is pointing forward. Good. Breathe here. So still breathing into the belly, through the rib cage, up to the heart. Exhale, push the heels and palms down. Good. Keep breathing. Now, keeping that alignment in the spine, oftentimes we can sink a little too far down, really getting into those shoulders. It might feel good, but we want to keep the length, keep the integrity of the pose. Still breathing into the sides of the body. Good. Let's shift forward to plank pose. We can remove the blocks if we got them. Good. So in our plank, wrists are underneath the shoulders. Knees in line with the hips. We're pulling the core in and up. We're lifting the upper back, lifting the hamstrings and the heels. And at the same time, we're reaching the heels back, crown of the head forward. Eyes parallel to the ground. Sternum is parallel to the horizon. Take an inhale breath. Good. On the exhale, shift forward. Half push-up. So this is our chaturanga. Now we like to put the tops of the feet on the mat. And that inhale brings us to up dog. The knees are lifted, palms pushing down. Chest is reaching through the arms. So it's this energetic lift forward, and then we get this deep back bend, right? But keep pushing and reaching through the toes so legs are long. Good. Downward dog, pull the core in and up. Make that transition. All right, so a few other options we have when we move through this vinyasa. We can come forward into plank. We can leave the feet right where they are, do our chaturanga, half push-up. Inhale to up dog. Right? Exhale to down dog. Pull the core in and up. Right? So leaving the feet in that position is just fine. And then the last option, we're in our plank pose. We exhale. We drop the knees to the mat. Lower the chest all the way down. Tops of the feet can come to the mat. Inhale to our cobra pose. Good. Forehead comes down as we exhale. Engage the core. Push up to tabletop. And then we can come to downward facing dog. So those are our three options when it comes to moving through our vinyasa and those transitions there. Okay, so really every day is a little different in this practice. So we got to find what works for us and be adaptable, right? Part of the deal. Okay, so now let's come back into triangle pose. So really like this pose. We'll start standing, step this right foot back. Now this back foot is slightly angled forward. If you bring it to 90 degrees and then angle forward just a little bit, that's where you want to be. So that back foot slightly angled forward just a little bit. Front toes are straight. We're pointing the toes forward. All right. And then almost like Warrior Two, we're opening the chest. Arms come out wide. So you could, in a way, like get right into a shorter Warrior Two. Okay? So we're going to straighten out that front leg, looking forward, and we're going to start to rock the hips back. As we do that, we reach forward, keeping this side of the body long, and then we make our way into this triangle pose. Now, oftentimes in this triangle pose, what we see is people going too far down. They get this really big, like, circle curve here, okay? In a lot of these poses, we want to come upright and keep the sides of the body long. Now, a good adjustment right here is with these blocks. So I like to bring the block on the inside. Good. We can even use 2 blocks if we need to, right? 2 blocks is nice. Again, remember, keeping the core engaged so the ribs are pulled in. Oftentimes they kind of see this big old back bend. No, we want to keep this shoulder right in line, reaching straight up, rotating, and we're lifting and lengthening through there. Good. This front leg is rotating, externally rotating slightly, so that'll bring us some more space in this left side body. Another option is to reach the fingers forward. I like this because now we can get this long line of energy through the side of the body. Rib cage is rotating up. A little bend into this front knee still. You don't want to lock it out. And work in the breath. Now we can easily overextend from our shoulders in a lot of these poses. So kind of get that shoulder back into place. Good, and just find the nice solid reach through the arm. Drop the rib cage down. Good. Good, let's bend into the front knee. We'll come back up. Nice, we'll go to triangle pose on the other side, so we'll just switch it out. Right leg will be the front leg, and we'll start to straighten that right leg out. Good. And then we start going for we can go heel to heel alignment or heel to arch alignment in this triangle pose. So that works just fine. Straightening out the front leg, coming upright, back foot slightly angled forward. Nice. Arms come out wide. Or to reach the hips back, lean forward through that right hand, keep the side of the body long, and then hinge at the hips. Good. So we're pushing this palm that's into the ground or the block down, and you can feel that rebound of energy. So we're working, but there's this repose that happens, and the body is engaged, but the repose brings calmness and relaxation, right? So it's a way to work this practice and still feel it, but also to connect to the ease and the steadiness that the practice brings. And that's what a lot of these modifications can do, is help us just get more access to these poses. Okay, now remember, pushing this front foot down, focusing on that big toe. Good. This thigh is externally rotating slightly, trying to keep this right side of the body long. Now check the rib cage. Pull the ribs in, try to keep it nice and long. Good, rotating rib cage up. Back foot is anchored, so that back heel is pushing down. We're pushing into the big toe mound. Maybe we even get a little arch, a lift in that inner arch. All right, let's bend into the front knee. Come on back. Good. Bring the hands to the hips, feet together. Good. Let's shake it out a little bit, side to side. So really good to take this time to break down some of these poses, okay? And you'll see that a lot of these poses that we do can be used with other ones. So Warrior Two, we're here keeping this knee over the ankle, high lunge, similar position, right? Triangle pose, we're here, We're in this bend, extended side angle. We're trying to keep the side of the body long. So let's take a moment. Let's break down extended side angle. We'll go with the left foot forward, right leg back. Now in this extended side angle pose, oftentimes we come in from warrior two. So we're in a warrior two position. Let's take an inhale, reach forward, lengthen through the left side, extended side angle. Forearm could come to the thigh, other arm can reach straight up. That's cool. We're still trying to keep this knee over the ankle. Rib cage rotating up, dropping the hips down. I like to point my fingers forward so I can really start to feel this line of energy. Now, look at this back foot. Back foot's engaged, anchoring down the pinky side edge of the back foot, lifting the inner arch, allowing that energy to move through all the way up, lengthening. Now, again, oftentimes we see that this gets crunched up right here, okay? Come up a bit higher. If you need to even come up here, maybe some of you are right here. Right, but we don't want to be dipping or leaning into any of these spots, so everything has this lightness to it. All right? Good. This is a tough pose. Really got to drop the hips down. Make sure the ribs are pulled in, not doing this big back bend. All right, let's go ahead and come on up. We'll go to the other side, right leg forward. We'll go warrior two to start. Get the foundation. Good. Take an inhale, reach forward. Exhale, extended side angle. Forearm can rest on the thigh, other arm reaches straight up to start. Now some of you may be down here coming real low, right? That's cool. Okay, just make sure you keep the alignment. Keep this right side long now. Back foot's anchored. And then we're breathing, right? So finding the depth of the pose that works. Place where we can find steadiness. Then we work the breath. Continue to refine, reaching and lengthening and expanding out with the breath. 360 degrees dynamic stretching. This is what we're looking for. Nice, guys. All right, good. Come back up. We'll make our way to a wide-legged position. Take an inhale breath. Exhale, wide-legged fold. Relax the hands and shoulders. Breathe down here. Good, now let's come to the ground, bring the knees down. We'll come to laying on our backs. A few modifications that I like to use when on the back. So first we'll come into bridge pose. All right, so in our bridge pose, parallel the feet so the toes are pointing forward. Walk the heels towards the hips. Feet are about hip distance apart. Good, arms alongside the body. Then let's go ahead and lift the hips up as we inhale, bridge pose. Now we'll take this block. We can put this block right in between the thighs. Probably should have put that block in between the thighs before we lifted, but that's all good. So the block's in between the thighs. We're squeezing the thighs together. We're lifting up. Good. So make little adjustments. Maybe you feel that the feet are too wide. You got to bring them a little closer. Good. You want those heels underneath the knees as best you can. And then try to reach the tailbone towards the knees. One more inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower down. First the upper back, the middle back, all the way to the tailbone. Nice. Now we'll take this block. Inhale, lift the hips and place this block underneath the hips where the sacrum is. I know where the bony fuse part is in the lower back. And where the tailbone. You may need to adjust it up or down a little bit to find the sweet spot. Once you do, release the hips down, flip the palms up. You can keep the feet planted into the ground. That's cool. You might be feeling it just enough here. If you want a little bit more, extend one leg and then the other. Let the feet fall off to the sides. This is a really nice pose to relax into. And relax the lower back and the belly. And if this is too much with the legs extended, just plant the feet back down. Now you can stay here as long as you like. It's a great pose. But another variation is to lift one leg up and then the other. Now I like to find the edge of the block here. That way I don't have to work so hard to keep my feet lifted. So just finding the edge. Maybe you got to come down and adjust a little bit up or down. So just find that sweet spot. So the legs can relax. You just want them to float up in space. You can even shake them, wiggle it around a little bit. And again, you can stay here for as long as you like. This is a great pose, but just a good use for the blocks. All right, plant the feet back down. Let's go ahead and lift the hips up. Place the block off to the side, lower the hips back down, pull the knees into the chest. Little rock left to right. All right, folks, so we broke down quite a bit today in this modifications and alignment practice. So this is one of those videos you can go back over and over again, continue to refine these poses, okay? Continue to learn and to get the alignment that works for your body. Please reach out to me if you got any questions or if you need some clarification on this. Would be happy to help. All right, guys, see you in the next video.